All right, welcome back to the channel, you guys. A lot of people have been wanting me to do some content on the Speed car, and since I've owned both cars for a little over a year, I figured it's time to do a 1-year review on these cars. So we'll dive into the Speed UTV first. I have about 2,000 miles on this car, and let's come in and take a look at just what I've modified first. So these are Speed UTV race tires. These are a 33-inch tire, but they actually measure out to be more like a 35-inch tire. I have a half windshield, and I'm not a windshield guy, but the reason why I have the half windshield is so I can use my communication devices, my comms. With the half windshield, you don't get any airflow blowing into your comms, so it really helps. I have a clutch fan on here, and that helps keep the belt temps down. Well, I've changed out the steering wheel, and the reason why I could change out the steering wheel from the square steering wheel is because another accessory that I've added is a power steering. The power steering really helps. This PRP steering wheel is great because I can see the screen really well. I've added a Garmin GPS and a auxiliary fuel tank. Here is the auxiliary fuel tank. It's about 11 gallons. And that's about all the mods I've done to the Speed UTV. So with that being said, the Speed UTV already comes with a race cage, full doors, really nice seats, very good quality beadlock wheels, and the A-arms are super strong. Everything on the car is super strong. One thing that is not strong are the heim joints and the tie rod ends. So right now I'm at the point, I put another 500 miles on it, and I need to replace tie rod ends and the upper heim joints. The only other negative thing I'm gonna say about the car is that I cannot keep my belt temperatures down. So if I'm in Glamis, I take the clutch cover off and the car does great. My belt temps don't go above 170. But if I'm out here in the desert, I really, like in a normal section where I could go, 80 miles an hour, I gotta slow it down to 50 because my belt temps go above 230. Above 230 is kind of the danger zone for a belt. That's when it starts to heat up to the point where it's gonna come apart. I have gone through a couple motors on this car and a couple transaxles, but Speed UTV has the best warranty of any manufacturer that I've ever dealt with, and the customer service is phenomenal. And I know there's going to be a lot of people, they're called haters out there, and I don't blame you. There was a lot of crap talking when this car was being built, like it's going to be the best car on the planet, and that singled out the people that own CanAms and Polarises. So I don't blame you if you hate the car. That's fine. You're never going to like the car. It doesn't bother me at all. I freaking love this car. I love getting in the car. The full doors are really safe for my family. These mirrors are awesome. The startup sequence is really easy. So when I hit the startup button, my clutch fan turns on, and then you just hit the brake, start it up. The screen has several different functions. I like the second function. It has all the tire pressure sensors. I've got belt temp, water temp, engine oil temp, boost gauge, inlet air temp, engine oil. It tells me whether I've got my speed key on or not. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I can cycle through these, and I can have front differential temp, ethanol level, battery voltage, rear diff temp, fuel pressure, all these different things as you cycle through these modes. And you have front and rear cameras, really cool stuff. When you buy one of these, it comes with all of these rocker switches. They're all already installed. This car is purpose built. You know, you take off this hood, and I'll take off this hood in a second. And this is a dream to wire, this Speed UTV. The Can-Ams are kind of a nightmare, but I'm not digging on the Can-Am. I'm just saying that this Speed UTV is more purpose built. This car does have flex fuel, which the Polaris and the Can-Am do not have. So when you go from E85 and you're using the speed key, which I'll talk about that really quick. I think right now my car is about 170 horsepower, just on 91, and I would say it's about 240-ish on, and I'm just guessing. I haven't dynoed it. I will dyno it, but I'm just guessing because I've driven a lot of different cars and I kind of know where the power's at. And I would say it's right around 240 with the speed key. And it's beautiful. It's great in Glamis. It's great in the desert. But if I'm going from E85 to 91 in this car, I can just toggle off the speed key switch, and the flex fuel sensor just kicks in, and the car will still run. It'll still start. It'll still run, and there's no issues. On the other hand, with the Can-Am, I have the Evo Tune, and it does not have flex fuel. So if I'm going from E85 to 91 or vice versa, I gotta drain the tank, flush the new fuel in, and then change the tune and turn the car on. And that's one thing I really appreciate about the Speed car, is that flex fuel capability. I've got PCI comms. Here is my fuel tank switch. I already have this set up for a winch, even though I don't have a winch. And then these are my car-to-car talk. This is for my Garmin. I want to talk about this for a second. You can actually see out your rear view mirror. So let me show you this. So great visibility from the front, great visibility from the rear. That drops down. You've got a 35-inch tire, or Speed's 33, and I can see you've got direct line of sight through your cab. Built-in chase lights. Everything is pre-wired, pre-set up. Light whips on this car. The light whips for the Speed UTV, you just plug them in. They just plunge right in there, kind of like an air chuck, and you do not have to connect it to any wires. I really like that. That's really cool. The seats are really comfortable. They've got really nice cup holders. It's already set up for comms. There's an AC plug and 2 USBs in the back. There's AC plug and 2 USBs in the front. And then I have an aftermarket glove pouch. So I've got about 2,000 miles on this car. So I'm really pleased with this car. Another question is, is this a top tier car? Is this Pro R level? Is this Can-Am Maverick R level? And I would say 100,000%. This is definitely that level. It is not gonna be as fast in the dunes, but it handles great in the dunes. You do need to do a little bit of prepping, but it's not a big deal. The A-arms and the trailing arms are super tough. So it's a great car. The hubs are tough. I really like this car. I love this car. I love hopping in this. It's so comfortable for the family. It's actually very good quality once I've gotten through all of the multiple updates that this car has had. And if you haven't gotten your car yet and you're gonna get one of these cars, you can kind of thank me for beating the crap out of this car, because the updates that these cars are coming with brand new are, you know, a lot from us early guys that are beating them and breaking stuff. And then Speed UTV is updating the car now. I'm taking the hood off right now, so bear with me. Okay, so under the hood, this is your wiring bus bar. So it's, oh my gosh, it's a dream compared to the other cars. Fuse box is right here. It's got a nice clip on it. It's very clean. This is the aftermarket power steering unit, and they're gonna sell those as an accessory. They're gonna be a bolt-on, so all the brackets that came with my unit are now pre-installed in the new cars, so you can just add it. Now I'm gonna go to probably one of the biggest things that you need in these cars. This has been the killer of these cars, is heat. So I've added a Morgan Motorsports aftermarket oil cooler, and that has been the saving grace for this car. So the heat from these cars comes from the intercooler being stacked on top of the radiator. And you would think that with all this positive airflow going into this grill here, it would be fine, but it doesn't work so well. And you also have 3 fans here, and in theory it's a really, really awesome design, but you have the clutch, the exhaust, the turbo, and the intercooler. They're all kind of in one area right here. You can kind of see, you know, there's the turbo, there's the exhaust, there's the intercooler right there, and it just creates all of this massive heat in one spot, and so it overheats the motor. And that has been the killer for the Speed UTV cars. Adding that oil cooler, you add oil volume, and you add another kind of another radiator for the oil, and it solves the problem. You have to have an oil cooler. That changed the car for me. Doing the axles, doing the tie rods, it's really easy. It's not that hard to do that stuff, so I'm just getting used to it. So it kind of makes it sound like I do not like this car, the CanAm. I freaking love this car. This car is next level. It's amazing. You don't have to change a belt, which I really, really like. And this is just taking the cars to the next level. The suspension system is incredible, but I've had to upgrade to shock therapy on the car, because once you get through 500 miles on the springs, they're done. The springs are done, and they don't have the bottoming out bump stop. The bump stops are built into this shock on the Speed UTV. These are the 3.5-inch trophy truck shock. This car has 2.5-inch shocks in the front and 3-inch in the back, and so it's good, but it's not as good as the Speed UTV. And so adding the shock therapy gold to it has completely changed the game in this car for me. I no longer bottom out, and you know, a lot of people are they're digging in the front and they're bottoming out in the back. And when you bottom this car out in the back, it's a backbreaker. It's really, really bad. So you do have to do a full upgrade on the suspension in these cars if you drive them like I do. If you're just out on the trails and having fun and rock crawling, you probably don't need to do anything to the suspension. So let's talk about the mods in this car. Got new wheels. The CanAm wheels are absolute garbage. I broke 3 pairs of those wheels, so it was time to upgrade to Price Designs. I got System 3 33-inch tires. A bigger tire gives you a little bit more suspension, but this is just a better quality tire. Morgan Motorsports built the car, so this is a custom front bumper. I've got Nacho. These are amber and spotlights. And then I've got amber Baja design lights. I've got Nacho pillar lights, which these are high and low beam, and you can change out the lenses on these to be amber as well. I've got individual Ultima lights on the light bar, and these lenses can be changed out as well. The cage, this is all done by Morgan Motorsports, and then the wrap was done by Gator Wraps, and I'll just show you the wrap in detail. Got a carbon fiber detail there. The detail goes all the way through the cab, and it looks really good. This is the Morgan Motorsports rear end on this car. I really like the Morgan Motorsports rear end. Now you can do fuel capability on the sides, which I'm probably going to end up doing, but right now I just have a tool pouch in there, got a spare tire on the top, and changed out the rear lights. I have a chase bar or chase light back there, and intrusion bars front and rear. I've got the Miller Spec shifter, switch pros, Garmin GPS, and then one of my favorite add-ons is the RPM fuel tanks. So let me give you the full impressions about this car. This car drives like a scalpel. This thing is the king of the dunes with the dual clutch transmission, 7-speed transmission. Oh, I didn't go over that. Follow me over here. So I've got Evo charge tubes, and I went with Evo because it came with the whole kit, but I'll be honest, I think the RPM charge tubes are better. That's my opinion. They're stiffer. They just seem to be a little bit better quality than the Evo. So I do intend on changing this tube right here to an RPM. I've got an Evo charge tube here, but there's one that goes up into the plenum, and I'm going to change that to RPM. I might change this one out too, but the RPM tubes are just better quality. But I do have the mid pipe, which is called the Shocker by Evo, and I have a DCT tune and a tune for the car. I also have rock knockers, which should be your first mod on these cars, because you're gonna break wheels if you don't have the rock knockers. The other thing that I have is the Firminator, which I have that button right here, and it's like the red button on the Pro R, and I had it on the steering wheel, but the cord just keeps getting wrapped up, so I took it off there. I'm gonna have a different solution with the Miller Spec steering wheel pretty soon, but I absolutely love this car. It surprises me every time I drive it, and it is the king of the dunes. I mean, this thing is a monster in the dunes. I don't know how it's gonna do up against a big turbo kit, but I drag raced a car with a 450 horsepower turbo, and it was at least a car length ahead of it. So that dual clutch transmission just does a heck of a job in the dunes. The suspension on the car is just like no nonsense going over the Razorbacks. So this car, I would say the deficiencies in this car is that it's just not as comfortable as the Speed. And so when I just think about, hey, I'm just gonna hop in a car and go drive out in the desert, I take the Speed. But if I want to be confident in the reliability, now some guys have had issues with the CanAm. I've had zero issues with mine, other than some mods that I've done, just figuring the mods out. I haven't had any issues with the CanAm, and this is my second Maverick R. I totaled the first one. It was my fault. I was going too fast and hit a washout. But this car has been reliable. My first Maverick R was reliable. There's guys having transmission issues and a lot of different issues, but to be honest, people have that with Pro Rs. They have clutch issues. I mean, if you're on the forums, you see people asking questions every day. That is my 1 year review of these cars. They're both really, really awesome cars. If you're considering a Speed UTV, I like this car. I think it's great. This one handles great, and it's very, very comfortable in the cab. This one, I'm gonna have to get new seats. It's just not comfortable in the cab. You're really squeezed in there. But if I'm gonna go on a 500-mile trip, like if I was gonna go to Baja, I'm taking this car because the reliability, the dual clutch transmission, and I've got fuel range now. So I've fixed the storage issue. I've got plenty of storage in here now, and I have made this car really, really awesome. If I was gonna recommend who to build one of these cars, 100%, I would say Morgan Motorsports. Take it to it. He's got about 3 or 4 different styles of treatments you could do to this car by now, and they just have it dialed. You could take this car and have it done in a couple weeks over there. So I'm really, really happy with both cars. I had the Pro R before. I was really happy with that car. There's not a lot of negative things to say about these cars. You know, everybody has their issues with the warranty with CanAm, or people haven't got their cars yet with Speed UTV, and Polaris just kind of has it down. They really try to take care of their customers, but I would say once you own a car, Speed really takes care of you. And I live in Lake Havasu City, so it's a little unfair because I could just take my car down there and schedule an appointment. So that's my impression of the cars. I would love for you guys to ask questions. I'll answer any questions that you guys have about these cars, and but hopefully I've answered a few that people have been asking me. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching the video. Have a great day.